hell is this?
Those children need Jesus or Oshun
Honey.
to guide them when they're having impure thoughts.
David!
God. Honey, it's for you.
Oh, hello, Fatima.
Hello, Alana. I see your dress shrunk in the dryer again.
This is the third man in a month. How many men you date, Auntie Alana?
We are our own little family. We are our own unit.
Watch Mixed Up, an original Film TT and TTT production. Nightly at 8 p.m. Monday 25th to Friday 29th September. Only on TTT.
It's time to get mixed up, guys. You heard it. Yes. TTT is finally going to show Mixed Up as of the 25th of September. I am thrilled to be joined by Lisa Gittins this morning, who was on wardrobe for the project, and Bridget Rampersad, Rhea Wilson, the daughter, who is having impure thoughts, I think, on the Now Morning show this morning. Good morning, ladies, and welcome.
Thanks for having us.
As you were reminding me, the last time we would have crossed paths remotely, at least on this project, would have been back in June for the red carpet premiere, and the excitement was there. This would have been a long time coming, a lot of work coming into things, and finally we are home on TTT. So Lisa, I'll start with you, because when we talk about these productions, a lot of the times we can identify, yes, this actress would have done a lot of work, but behind the scenes, getting those looks together would have been its own thing. I would say monster. I'll leave that up to you. What was that experience like and process like?
I take wardrobe very seriously, right? I say this probably over and over, but generally people think, oh, you just put clothes on people, but I really think about it deeper. So I read the script, I try and understand the character, because my job is to storytell. So when you see the character on screen without them uttering a word, you should kind of have an idea who they are, what their age group is, socioeconomically, where do they fall? You know, you're telling a lot about a person. And this was a really great opportunity because it's the first time they're doing this show. So I got the opportunity to kind of help, like, say who the characters are. Right now, obviously, you do that in collaboration with the director and the showrunner and the producer. You get a lot of input and it's a collaboration. But it is really nice when, particularly like when the actors come for their fittings and they kind of squeal and get excited a little bit because I've helped them get into character. Those are the moments that make all the running downtown, fixing something, sewing something from scratch because we don't have it. You know, like it's hectic always, but wow, the payoff is always amazing.
I feel like Bridget is the person who squealed in the film.
Oh my gosh.
I feel
You're not wrong.
I feel like you would be the person. So from that acting perspective, now this being your first large-scale acting job, I imagine that would have been part of the excitement, getting fitted, getting dressed, and those sorts of things. But how much of a help would you say that is for you and your character development and expressing who your character Rhea is?
Oh, it's definitely a huge help because, you know, you do the work in your head, you read the script, you work with your director, but there's something about putting on a costume that really puts you in that mind frame of who this character is. And Lisa was such a huge help in that. And yes, I did squeal. Because it's exciting, you know, it's exciting to see the character come to life right in front of your eyes.
So let's tell persons who haven't seen a premiere, haven't had a little sample just yet, what we are expecting when we see Mixed Up. Who is Rhea and what is Rhea's story in this tale?
Rhea is the eldest Wilson daughter. You know, she has a lot on her shoulders. She's at that very crucial time in her life. You know, CXC is coming up. She's 16. A lot of important decisions to make, and she's left with one very important one about what do I do after high school, secondary school, you know? And that's, she's a very free-spirited person, so she wants to dance, she wants a different lifestyle than what she's living right now. So, and I think a lot of teenagers can relate to that.
A lot of people.
Yes.
Rhea, good morning. Look who's here. Now, Lisa, going back to you, in terms of how you're able to translate that on screen, one of the things you mentioned is making things from scratch. So, Lisa.
Yes.
So, how much of the costuming that we are seeing was made from scratch?
I think only maybe 3 or 4 pieces, but what I do is you know, I go to thrift shops and vintage stores and I might see something that I really want for a character. So it's nice that I have the capacity to convert that into what it needs to be for the character, because I'm always answering again to what's the show about, what's the storyline about. So, you know, you don't really get free rein, but it is great that I do have that capacity and those skills that I can kind of, if I can't find anything I want, I can create it, you know. And then, it's a story about family. and the dynamics of a family. It is touching, it is funny. I mean, we say sitcom, but I find it's a little deeper than that. It's not canned laughter. There's some really interesting themes that are explored pretty delicately in Richard's writing. And that resonated with me a lot. I'm a real family-oriented person, so that's the part I enjoyed the most. Like, are these people looking like they are interrelated and they love each other and they are an actual functioning family, you know? So
we could see ourselves in this family, one way or the other.
Hopefully.
Now, in terms of the situation economy itself, the process of creating that took some time. I wasn't going through timelines. That means that in terms of your preparation, what sort of timeline notice will you give on how early are you told, I need this by this time?
Well, you know, in all productions, the timeline, no matter how much lead time you have, there's always a rush at the end because you're pulling together a lot of threads, right? And most of them are dependent on each other to kind of move forward. So we've been talking about this since the previous year, August, and I mean, we started filming in May, right? So, but it got very hectic at the end and very speedy, but that's also, that's the nature of the beast. And there's it was nice that I had the scripts well in advance and I had a lot of kind of prep done, but the actual pulling the trigger, okay, we're doing this, get this together now, it was intense for sure.
Excitement.
Yeah.
I think it's very important to underscore, though, the reality of a career and an actual sustainable job existing in wardrobe, because as you started saying, people think it's just putting clothes on persons. And similarly, I imagine for you as an actress, the ability to pursue that full time is a beautiful experience.
Oh, for sure.
Now, we have waited very long, as you said, filming in May. We had a couple of things, red carpets in between and that sort. What is the exact emotion at this point to finally see it come?
Just one.
It would take a simultaneously deep breath.
Yeah. It's nerves, it's excitement, it's relief. It's so many things, but I think definitely it's the excitement outweighs everything. I'm just so ready to see it. I'm so ready for other people to see it and to relate to it, because it is such a relatable show. You know, as Trinbagonians, we have such a culture that we don't get to see on TV, you know, and we have very specific things that we deal with as Trinbagonians, and I think the show does well with representing that. So we get to see ourselves.
I definitely agree with you. My favorite character, I will hold my breath still on being your little sister, just because we all had that miserable little sister.
She's just a ball of charisma too, like you cannot help but adore her.
On the red carpet, she was showing me how to pose, like she was the best. And I imagine you all have little moments that you would have had with each other, with other persons that stand out. So any that you're willing to share with us?
I will say Lisa was like the mother on set.
Really?
She really took care of the actors. I mean, any little problem, Lisa was there to fix it, you know, and it just made me especially, it made me feel so comfortable and so relaxed. And I was like, okay, great, we can handle it, because she has such a great attitude when it comes to dealing with situations. And it was just like, okay, Lisa's fine, everything's fine. Let's go ahead.
No pressure.
Tears on the now wanted show. Gosh, I can't think of a particular moment, but I will say to me, it's the relationships you build on set. Like my actors and I always tend to bond with my actors, right? Because it's close, it's personal. You're up in their space, putting a mic up their back, you know, figuring out their underwear down to. So it becomes personal, and most times you really develop some great friendships, you know. But also with the crew, like you meet new people on every set. People are always like best team. Well, I mean, I've been a part of several best teams, because it's really, there's a particular energy of everybody getting together to make this thing happen that is really special.
The hours that you all have put in together, because we here on the Now Morning Show have our early hours, and we wouldn't have had to put in as much or as many for recordings like that. So I can imagine that there is a lot more that you can't even tell us. But in terms of what you think persons will take away from this, I know that you were saying that it's relatable, and we agree that we can see ourselves, the family aspect of things, most definitely. But setting it apart as well, what do you think is the biggest distinction persons will come away with when they take a look at least the first episode of Mixed Up?
I think people will be pleasantly surprised. I mean, that was clear on the premiere night. I mean, you just don't know. You put your all into these projects that you do, but you're right up against them, so you don't always have that step back moment to see the big picture, right? So you do have a collection of people who are putting their best foot forward. So it's only when a little time has passed and you can step back and look in, can you judge if it's good or not, or if it hit the mark that you wanted it to hit.
Right.
And at the movie, when they premiered it in IMAX, the response was so great. I think people are going to be surprised. I pleasantly surprised. Not that your expectations shouldn't be high, but it's charming, it's funny, it's serious, it's a lot of things, you know. And I think it's an enjoyable half-an-hour TV show. I mean, and we need to do. We're so capable of such great things here in Trinidad with all the talent we have in every arena. And I think this is really, I want people to say, I want to see more local stuff. This is great. That would be what I would hope that people would take away.
And on that note, guys, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
Congratulations on all the hard work coming to screen on the 25th of September right here at TTT. Guys, tune in to get mixed up and stay tuned to the Now Morning Show. We're going to continue to explore things with the cast as the time draws nearer. But for now, we take a quick break and come back with more.
Mix it up.